Okay, they've also authorized me if I have to go a little bit longer, we can. Okay. Just so you understand what we're going to do here today. In the early, let me just get this clear. Very, very early 1980s, the Ascended Masters authorized a program globally, not just by me, but by hundreds of other people, to begin to give back to our memory certain information. And when they tried to do it, it didn't work. Because we had kind of mutated in a certain kind of way where the planet had become male. Really, really male, really left-brain, logical, technological thing. And we'd never been there before, not to this level. And so everything that they knew didn't work. Men did not show up to the workshops. Lots of women, lots of them. So you'd see a workshop with like 100 women and one little guy back there, like two of his fingernails. Oh, thank you, thank you. And so they didn't quite know what to do, and they decided to do something that was never done before, and they reversed the order of how things were taught, because in doing that, it started with the Mer-Ka-Ba, which is a human body, light body. It's an electromagnetic field that's about 55, 60 feet in diameter, and that's really logical. It's very male, it's very brain-orientated, and they figured, okay, we'll do that, and then go backwards. And that's what all the teaching on Earth has been going backwards, except for some of the traditional systems, like the Tibetan Buddhism. And the traditional systems continued on in the way that they, Hinduism, etc., and Sufism, Taoism, all these kinds of things, they didn't change. This was just how this new information was put out. But now, they've told me that I could try to reverse it back to the way that it normally was. And I'm going to try to do that today. I would like to have at least 5 days or more, so I could slow down and kind of explain things a little bit more. I'm not going to be able to explain much. You're just going to have to kind of accept things, because there's no way I could spend an hour explaining everything that I'm doing, because we would never make it. So this is an experiment. It may work and it may not. I don't know. But we'll find out here real soon. But I think in the process you'll learn a lot, I hope, and be able to use this in your daily meditations, whatever your meditations are. And so instead of going from the Mer-Ka-Ba to the brain functions and like the glands and everything else, and then down to the heart, and then ultimately it also requires Tantra and understanding what Tantra is. Human beings now, to them, it's just sex, pleasure, and money. But it's much, much more than that. This is the actual creation process. There are 5 channels where this energy can move up, and one of them is sexual orgasm. And yes, you can make babies with that, but you can also make absolutely anything in existence out of nothing. I mean, I know that's an outrageous statement, but it's true. You can make a planet. 2 people can actually create a planet from this instead of a baby. And you've done it before. You just don't remember. That's why there's so many planets. Everything in existence came from us, or people, and we might not look like us. They may look very different and everything else, but it's still the same spirit. It's only one spirit that moves through all life everywhere, and it's always the same. You could be standing in front of an ET that looks so different than you, it's insane. But really, you are completely the same being. And so anyway, we're going to do what we can here. Hopefully we get the images up on the screen, because if we do, that will help a lot. If we don't get the images, it's going to be harder to do, because you're going to have to really take things on faith and to be able to do some of this stuff. It helps if you can see these things. We'll see. And also, just so to be really clear, this permission was only given to me about a month ago, and I didn't know I was going to be here. And so we haven't really developed this yet. We're in the process of developing the images to actually make a very intelligent sequence that will make it sense, totally sense. So we'll have that by July. That's our target motion. By July of this year, we will have that completed. And there will be about 100 teachers that will be put out into the world that will know how to do this. So if you don't understand this, by July, you'll be able to go onto www.drunvalo.net, and on there will be a new page of all the new teachers that have been trained that will be able to, and you'll get their bio and their image, their photo, and a link to their website, which will tell you what country they're in and what language they speak in and where they are, so you can connect with them if you want to. We're in quite a few languages. I don't know how many, 30, 40 languages or something, so we can reach. We're reaching out now into over 100 countries. So here we go. And I have a blank mind right now. I don't know what here we go means exactly yet. But I do know that they've told me to I'm not going to go into the creative process or the Tantra process. We're not prepared for that at all right now. But we're going to begin with the human heart. And the human heart, like I said in the lecture yesterday, is more primal, is older than the brain. And a long time ago, and in fact in most places in existence, the person lives in their heart and they perceive the outer world from their heart, and the brain is remotely controlled, just like a television. It's controlled remotely. It's not, at this point, we live in our brain, have developed an ego, which gives us the sense that we are separate from the outer reality, which just isn't true at all. It's an illusion. And so we're going to try to switch from the brain to the heart. That's the first thing we're going to do. And we're going to do this experientially. I'm not just going to talk about it. We're actually going to do it. And I'll lead you through the whole process. This is the most important thing. And I would like to say now that if you find that you can't get into the heart, don't be concerned. Every single person in existence knows how to get into the heart. It just sometimes, what's happened here on Earth is there have been emotional trauma more than, there's not very many places where the emotional trauma and the pain level is this high. Relative to the rest of the universe, we live in hell. There is no hell, like the Christians say. In fact, Pope John Paul announced to the world there is no hell. Did you know that? He did, before he died. He said, I'm sorry, we made it up. This is true. And there is no hell and there is no purgatory. We made it up and he apologized. And it just is, and it, I mean, I knew that, but I was amazed when he said it. And you notice the Christians don't bring that up too much. They use it also to control their people. You know, look out, you'll go to hell if you do that, you know. Well, we are creating everything that's in our existence. And if you want to create a hell, you can do it, but you're the one that's going to do it. And I don't think too many people are going to want to do that when they know that they are the creators that are making the images that they're living in. So anyway, is this the, I got one. I think. I'll see which one's better. Hey, I can use two at once. Yeah. Okay, that's where I'm not going to do as much good if we don't get the images in. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit before we begin, because you got to know what we're doing. To have the experience of moving from or to no longer being focused in here and to be focused in the heart it's a movement. It isn't something you can just change. You have to move away from here and into here. You have to travel. It's not very far, but it changes everything. And like I said, if you do have emotional trauma, that can sometimes stop you. I started to say this. That can sometimes stop you from getting into the heart. Because when you start to go in there, you feel the pain of perhaps a broken divorce or relationship or something that happened to you. You could have been raped or something like this. And you go in there and you feel that pain intensely and you back away from it. If that happens and you can't get in because of something like that, there is only one solution. And that is you have to go through therapy. You have to go in and find out what that was, and you've got to let it go. You have to do that. And you'll also probably find a lot of the diseases you have go at the same time. So I mean, it's because they're all interrelated. And I wish there was a simpler way to do it. I don't know of one. If there is, if there's some way to wave your hand, there are people that can help you in that way. But yes.
Well, there is one. Me, I'm one of the.
Oh wait, we need. Do we have the microphones? What is it called?
Landmarkeducation.com. 3 days. I let go all my orphans, like people love me and stuff.
Well, there are many different techniques in terms of doing this. Personally, I suggest that you really do a little research to find out all that is available, and find the one that resonates with you and in your heart, that you feel confident about and feel good about. And because this is a very personal thing that you have to do. There are some fantastic things that are out there. Anyway, I have to say this because you got to do something. If you don't do anything, you can meditate every single day the rest of your life, and you're going to come to a ceiling. You're going to come to a place that you can't get beyond. No matter what the technique is or what you're doing, you get there, you could sit there for 20 years. And until you work out all this internal trauma that's happened, you can't go any further. And I don't think that there's any meditators that probably disagree with that. I think if there is some kind of system, I don't know what it is. So barring that, there's a couple things you need to know. One of them is that your spirit, you, individually, has the capability of either being finite or infinite. You can either be the entire universe, and a lot of you, in fact, most of you have done that somewhere in your past. You've been everything, and that's. Or you can be any portion of it. You could be a galaxy, or a planet, or a star, or a person on Earth. No matter how big it is, if it's not infinite, you have a center. There is a center place to your spirit. Sounds strange, but there is. But if you're infinite, you have no center. You are everything everywhere. And you also are everything everywhere in a way that almost everybody on Earth has no idea about, because the universe is polarized in a way that is invisible to most of us. But I guess that doesn't really matter right now. So here you are in a finite body, which means that you have centered yourself somewhere, either in your body or around your body. There are some people who believe that over your right shoulder is the place where it is. There are others that believe it's behind the heart. After doing lots and lots of research, the majority of people on Earth center themselves in the center of the head, in the pineal chakra. And wherever it is, doesn't matter. you're going to have to go from wherever you have centered yourself to your heart. And you're going to have to travel, you're going to have to move. And you do that through imagery, by seeing that you're moving. We have some fantastic exercises where you can travel around your body, you can get into your hands. When you do, you can actually close your eyes and look out and see through your hands. This is how the kids can see through their hands or their feet, or their ears, or their hair, or their armpits, or all kinds of places that they choose. And I can usually get about half or a third of the room being able to see with their hands. So you could be around it. You could go, if this was a wall, you could go like that, and you can actually see what's around that wall, just as well as you look with your eyes. And so, since we have such a short time, I'm going to just have to explain these things rather. Now, in a normal workshop, we would go through exercises to actually do all these things one by one, so that you can gain the experience of it. So wherever you are, when we begin this meditation, I'm going to ask you to move to your head, just so I get you all in the same place. And then we're going to move from there to a very specific place inside of your heart. And I'm going to talk about that for a moment. This place inside the heart is it's called the sacred space of the heart. It's been called that for thousands of years. It's not something I made up. And it is a very small, tiny place, which I mentioned yesterday. It's so small that it's actually, we think, smaller than we even imagine. Now that the doctors and the experimenters and researchers and everything are looking at this, especially heart math from Stanford. It's a very, very tiny place. We believe it is the tiny place that when physicians are doing heart surgery, they discover that there's a little tiny place, and if the blade happens to touch that place, they instantaneously die. They can't do anything about it, so they know they have to avoid it. We think that's where it is, but we're not sure. And at least maybe they are sure now. I haven't talked to them for 3 or 4 years, so maybe they've discovered that now. And but it's a very, very tiny place, and it's inside the physical heart. I know that some of you may have read certain teachings, especially the Gnostic teachings, and those were generated from Jesus, and from his teachings, what we understand is that he told them to go behind the heart. There's different ways of getting in. We know at least 4, and we know for certain there's a 5th one, but there may be more. We're not really sure. One of these ways is where you go behind the heart, and then when you look in there, there is like a crevice in the heart, and about in the middle of the heart itself, if you're looking at it psychically, there's a little rotating field. It looks like a little rotating place, and sometimes you'll see that as a light space or as a dark space, depending on it doesn't matter. It's not about light or dark. And all you do is your spirit just moves toward it, and when you get right up to it, it just pulls you in, just like a little vacuum cleaner sucks you in. And you start going down this tube, and you feel yourself moving, and sometimes it feels like about a minute or so. You can't imagine, you're only going about that far, but it feels like you're moving a long time, and then all of a sudden, it stops, and it's really, really still. There's no movement at all. This has been talked about by mostly in the oral traditions as being the stillest place in the universe. It is extremely, you can feel it. It's just like, there's no movement or nothing. And you're there. That's one way to get in. There are other ways. There's a very, very simple way that it's a totally female way, and because of that, it's difficult for men to do. Because all you do is you come up to the heart so you can see or sense or feel it in front of you, and then you go through the membrane inside the heart. And then once you're inside there, anywhere, it doesn't matter, you tell yourself with your intention that you're going to move and take yourself to that place. And that's exactly what happens. You feel yourself moving. It feels like a big space you're moving in. And you feel yourself moving, maybe making little turns, maybe going straight, who knows. And then you come to the place where once you enter into the sacred space of the heart, you stop and you feel that same incredible stillness. And you're there. Where you are, I believe always. I've never seen anyone go directly to the tiny place, but there's always, people always, anytime you make an ultimate law, somebody will break it, always. But usually you will be in the outer space. When we do get the images up, I'll show you what I'm talking about, because that tiny space of the heart creates a massive electromagnetic field, which I talked about yesterday. And it's a toroidal field. It's like a donut. You know, a donut or a tire is round and has an opening in the middle. Or think of the magnetic field of the earth, how it comes out like that and goes back in. That's another torus. It's another toroidal field. And so I'm thinking about something else. I think I'm getting older. My mind used to go, now it goes, kind of funny. But anyway, where was I going with Jordan Field? That's what I'm trying to figure out. No, what were you talking about? Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. There's two spaces, that's what I was talking about. And when you see the actual energy printout from HeartMath, you'll see this huge torus like this, like that. And inside of it is one that's about half the size. It actually may be exactly half the size. I kind of measured it, it looks like it. And about half as big. And that's precisely how the sacred space of the heart is organized. It is a toroidal field. There are two of them, one inside the other. And so when you come into it, you almost always come into it in the outer one. And the outer one is interesting. We have recorded in that space is everything. It's the Akashic records of the entire universe, past, present, and future. And you can know anything precisely what's going to happen in the future by being there. You can, I mean, perfectly. It's not a guess or anything. You'll know exactly. The very words I'm saying were written down in there. They're all there. And you have written in there in various kinds of ways and recorded in various kinds of ways information. This is important. From the last, when you came to Earth, everybody's an ET, whether you like it or not. The Earth is very young. You have always existed. There's never been a time when you haven't existed. The Earth is very young. It's not very old. You existed long before the Earth, and so you came from somewhere else to here. Maybe a long time ago. Most of you in the last few years, in the last 30 years or so, most of you have come here. And before you left, you knew you were coming here. And you also knew you were coming here for a specific reason. You had a mission. You knew why you were coming here. Most people have forgotten what that mission is. And you knew you were going to forget it because the journey is so long. And when you get into a human body, you forget everything where you were before because this is so real. It takes over. And so what you did was you wrote down you recorded all the information that you needed to, so that you could remember why you came here. And so that's one thing that's in there, and it's important. You may not do it today or tomorrow, it might be a year from now, but at some point you're going to go there and all of a sudden a wall will appear and there'll be some weird language on it, or a crystal will come out of nowhere, and that crystal, when you hold it, you remember. It could be lots of different ways, but all that knowledge, that information will suddenly just come flooding into you, Once you remember that, you become single-pointed. You know exactly why you're here, and you go right for it. And your life takes on a whole different meaning completely. There are many other things that are recorded there, but for us right now, I'm not going to be too concerned about all of that stuff. What I would like to bring you into is the tiny space of the heart. And so one of the ways is that you move till you get to the still place, and just assume you're in the outer place of the heart. The first thing you have to do, because as soon as you re-enter into, this is also going to be hard to explain right now, but when you go from the mind and you re-enter back into the heart, it's Genesis. You are recreating the universe all over again at that moment. And so one of the things in the very first paragraph of the Torah, or the Christian Bible, is that it begins that the earth was in darkness, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And the very next sentence, it says, at the very end of it, let there be light. You have to actually say that. You don't have to say it with the words. You can do it inside. But you have to ask for there to be light, because if you don't, you're going to be in the darkness the whole time. And so it's an important thing to remember. And when we go through the meditation, I'll lead you to it. You have to ask for the light. The light may not just turn on like a light switch. It may come on 15 minutes later. It may come, and the light is different. Some people it looks like sunlight. Some people it looks like light like this. Some people it's like moonlight. Some people it's psychedelic light. Some people it comes on like a dimmer switch. Comes on very, very, very slowly, so imperceptible that you don't even notice it's getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And so all you do is ask for it and leave the rest of it up to Great Spirit. And the other thing that I'm going to ask you to do is that within this, and this is written down definitely in the Upanishads of Hindu 5,000-6,000 years ago, is that there's a vibration in the heart, and it is the oldest vibration in existence. It's what they call Om. It's the source of where the word Om came from, and it's a vibration that sounds kind of like Om. It's just this continuously moving sound, and this vibration is the beginning of the universe, and to me it is the cosmic DNA. It is what unfolds everything and that is happening on every level of existence. And I really want you to feel that. And in fact, I'm going to ask you, when you get in there, and you can either hear it or you can feel it. There's different ways of connecting to it, but however you connect to it, when you feel it or sense it or hear it, I'm going to ask you to use your voice just for 30 seconds or so to try to duplicate what you are feeling or hearing, so that you can ground it into your body. Because once you know that vibration, and it is the way that you can return in an instant. At any time, you just can close your eyes and feel that vibration, and you're right back in your heart instantaneously. I watched this in the Colombian mountains in Colombia, where the Kogi or the Wakos will be talking, and then they'll just close their eyes and they just instantaneously go back into the heart space and reconnect with whatever parts of life that they're connecting it with at that moment. And they do it instantaneously. And I found that I can do that too, and I know you can do it too. It's important to connect to that. I mean, you can be in the middle of anything going on, and just suddenly you're back in this space, at which point you can change anything in this outer world. This is going to be important to know with what we're about to go through on Earth. Because there is going to be a transition that is really huge. And you won't have to guess if you're in the transition or not. I mean, we're in the initial stages of it now, and have been for some time. But when it really starts moving fast, it's going to be a big deal. It's not going to be a little thing. And the knowledge of this is the only way that you will be able to pass through and to be able to move consciously, easily, and smoothly up into the next level of consciousness without having to translate into another place within the universe on one dimensional level or another. Either way, you're not going to be harmed at all. This is a gift from Great Spirit. What's about to happen. I really want you to know this. There is no reason for fear on any level at all. I don't care what anybody tells you. And I don't care what you see with your eyes. Your spirit is immortal already. You don't have to attain anything. You already are there. This is a great gift because you're about to pass through something that's never happened before in this way. And you're going to be transformed beyond belief with all this very quickly. This is an incredible, absolutely incredible gift from God to you personally. So don't be worried. Don't think, oh, I'm not going to make it. I don't know what to do. You will know what to do when the time is happening. You'll know exactly what to do. You'll know exactly how to breathe and where to go and how to make it happen. And you've done it before. You just haven't. You've done this part before. You haven't done what's going to happen after this before. That's the part that's brand new. And I would love to talk about it. We just can't do it today. Okay. And so the next thing I'm going to ask you to do, after you've asked for light and you feel the vibration and you've grounded it into your body by making a little sound, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is to move again. And to again make the movement. Just feel yourself moving and use your intention. And with your intention, you tell yourself to move to the tiny space of the heart. And you'll move and you'll go directly to this place. And you'll find that when you enter into that tiny space, the sound of Om is going to go up. It sounds like about an octave. So it'll be... And I remember when I first discovered this, here on a little tiny space, which is only about 6, 7, 8 feet around, and I was going, oh, I was going back and forth. I said, look at that, I mean, you can play with it. It's yours. You don't have to be serious. And for sure, in all of this, being serious is not a good attribute. It's no fear, no serious. Keep a big grin on your face and just be like a little kid, little child. Even Jesus said that, you know. At least you be like a child and you're not entering the kingdom of heaven. I can see why now, because your seriousness almost always ends up in fear. And if you get in fear, that's what you start creating. And if you start creating fear, it always throws you back to the other world. And so you lose the game. So it's like doing a computer game and you lost. You got to start all over again. and so that's all it is. Okay. There's another thing that the indigenous people all over the world know about and have told me, and it is primarily the reason why I can walk into almost any indigenous tribe in the world and they just take me in as a brother. It's because of what I'm about to talk about. But how do I? Okay, now I gotta think for a moment how I'm gonna do this. Okay. This is not just indigenous people that know this. Also, the Kriya Yoga group, Yogananda, Sri Yukteswar, Babaji, Jesus, Krishna, Lahiri Maharshi, and all those guys. They're very much aware of this, and that's where I first learned about this, is that there is a way of breathing that one has to do in order to get into the heart. You can't do it otherwise. You can try all you want, you can do anything you want, it won't work. There is something that has to take place first. And that, we call it the unity breath. Indigenous tribes have different names for it. and different people, but the names don't mean it. It's always the same thing. And all it is very simple. It's not difficult. It's that when you begin to breathe, you first feel love for your own body, your own self, and you get into that love. And then you switch over and you begin to feel love for Mother Earth. And you really, you got to get into this. You can't be mentally thinking, I now love Mother Earth. You know, I mean, that's not love. That's a mental thing, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you got to feel it. If you can't feel this, you can't do what we're doing. You have to feel love for her. And you can start with, when we do this, we'll start with nature. And so you can find some place that you really love and have been in that you love. And we'll start with there, so you can first feel the place of love for nature, and then you've got to transfer that to Mother Earth, to the spirit of the earth. She is a real person on a cosmic level. She is a real being. She is a female. To all the indigenous people, by the way, all over the world, she was, for last 500 years, she was about 2 to 4 years old. They always saw her as a little child. That's because about 527 years ago, Mother Earth gave up on us. She figured, I made a mistake. And she just shut things down. In Japan, it was the story of Amaterasu, where also the Japanese and the Mayans and the Mayan calendar have exactly the same day when this took place. It's pretty interesting. What's the odds of that, you know? Well, it's about 527, might be 28 or 29 years. I haven't been keeping track of it, but it's approximately a little over 500 years ago, which is the exact time when the Illuminati was born, and the Spanish decided they were going to go into South America and take all the gold and all these different kinds of things that we would have normally never done because Mother Earth would have kept us in check. She just kind of let us go. And Amaterasu is not Mother Earth, by the way. She is female, and she's beautiful, but she is the light of the sun. So the sun is male, but when the light comes down here, it comes down as female. It blends with Mother Earth. And so Amaterasu and the spirit, that spirit of the light of the sun and Mother Earth are very, very close to each other. They work together. And all life did not come from the earth. It came from the sun. Any scientist will tell you that. All life, literally us, our bodies, everything came from the sun to the earth. And so at any rate, trying to keep it simple, at this point, she's back now. That's what I was going to say. She entered back into the earth about, I don't know, 15 years ago. Through Amaterasu was the first to emerge back out of the earth and come back out, so the light began to change. And this was shortly after the sun began to move from a hydrogen to a helium star, which only happens once in the life of the sun. We have a brand new light coming in from the sun, which is transforming everything and also transforming our sexuality and transforming really our whole DNA, and everything is being changed because of it. And so I'm really dropping out a lot because to keep it as germane and straightforward as possible. And so now, in a very short amount of time, Mother Earth, most of the indigenous people of the world understand what happens. They get it. And she's now about roughly 30 years old. And she's smart. And she's savvy. And she knows exactly what's going on in the world. And she knows exactly which one of her children are doing these things. And she's preparing for this transformation. She's not interested in causing problems for anyone or anything else like that, and neither are we. But we do want to see this transformation move in as smooth as possible way. But we don't want to see anyone harmed, not anything, not even a bug, nothing. All life needs to pass through this. And just mentioning bugs, all these other little insects and everything are just as important as we are. It's hard to imagine, They're part of our consciousness. We can't let any part of our consciousness be harmed in any way, and it's not going to happen. Though I have to admit that most of the ETs that are here right now, and there are a lot of them, there are over 250,000 cultures that are here, literally here on Earth right now, and though we don't know about most of them, they didn't think we were going to make this. They were, in fact, now that they know we are going to make it, they're pretty amazed. They didn't think we were going to do it. It's just too big of a jump in consciousness. It's huge, but we're going to do it. So, there is and I'll now explain the meditation. Basically, you get into your heart and you begin to feel your love for Mother Earth. It's usually not too hard for most people. There are people that's difficult to do, but for most of us, we can do that and we can feel that love. So you feel it, it's all around you, it's in you, you're loving her, you're just totally into this love. And then when it feels right, and it feels strong enough, you then take that love, and these different tribes do it in different ways, but it isn't based on a technique, it's based on intention. This is important to know. And so, any technique, if you want to put it into a little ball, which a lot of us do, or something like that, but the object is you take your love and you send it to the very center of the earth with the intention that Mother Earth she can feel that you love her. That's what your intention is. And after you do that, you just sit and wait until she sends her love back to you. And you can feel her love. Now you're connected to your mother in love. And this is your divine mother. And that's important. It's the first connection to being able to enter into the sacred space of the heart. And you just get into it. And when it comes into you, let it move through your whole body. Let it move through all your bodies, through your cellular, physical body, through your mental body, your emotional body, your light body, stretching out all around you, through anything else that's there that you may not even be aware of. And don't try to hide anything. Let it move wherever it wants to. Go, anyway, but not here, something like that. It's your mother. It's okay. Let her go where she wants and let it just permeate you. And then when that's happening, without stopping it, without blocking it, to stay in that field and that love, and it's beautiful, then turn your attention to the heavens. You're first connected only with Mother Earth, not even the moon, only Mother Earth. And then the next connection is to all the rest of creation. The moon, the sun, the planets, and all the stars, the Milky Way, and everything else beyond that. And that is your divine Father. And so and the easiest way, the easiest image to be able to get into this is to look up and see a night sky, which I'll have you do. And you see the stars and the whole thing, and you get into that feeling when you're looking up in those beautiful stars, and that feeling of wow, and all of that. But turn the wow into love for all life everywhere and all that has been created. And you get into that love, and when you then get into it, then with your intention, you send it up into the heavens with the intention that your divine Father feel your love. Now, the indigenous people have all kinds of ways of doing this. Most of them send it to the physical sun, and some, like the Hopi, send it to the central sun. They actually understand that concept, and they're probably better than we do. And Sri Yukteswar sends it to the grids, which is another way. There's a grid that moves through all time, space, and dimension, and if you put it in the grid, it connects with all life everywhere instantaneously. And right now, science is on Earth where we have now a communication system that we can instantaneously, in 0 time, communicate from one computer to another anywhere in the universe. And literally, this science is going to change everything on Earth. And I shouldn't be talking about science, I guess, but we are capable of doing this at this moment right now, and we are beginning to do it. We can actually send a message out that takes 0 time to reach every single living being in existence. we're beginning to remember who we really are, even on a scientific level. And I do believe this, is that if science and spirituality reach the truth, they're identical. They're exactly the same thing. There's no difference. And they are coming closer and closer to that. When you feel the Father, when you feel His love come back into you, again, let it move through your whole body and through all your other bodies, your life bodies, mental, emotional, everything. You feel, and then you feel, and then you switch and you feel. Now think of a triangle where here's your mom, here's your dad, and here's you, the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, and you are the Divine Child. And you're connected along those two lines of that triangle to your mother and your father. Now you have to feel the line that moves between your mother and your father and feel the love moving between them. So you can feel it. That is an incredible sensation in the child when the child feels that the mother and the father loving each other. It's very important. And at that moment, a vibration begins in your spirit. And that vibration is recognized by the heart. In other words, if you aren't vibrating at that frequency, the heart won't let you in. And so this first step is really, really, really crucial. You must really get into this. You have to really feel it. And so when you hold that vibration, that's why what I said was, now I'm going to tell you, when I go to an indigenous tribe, they don't care what I look like. They can feel the vibration. And they just open their arms and let me in, because form, shape, color, and all those other things don't mean anything. All it really matters is what your heart is doing, and that's what they want. And then they know they can trust me. You know, that's what it's all about. And you'll find the same thing. And it's not just indigenous tribes. You can walk right up to animals, wild animals. I mean, animals that would normally kill you. But if you're in that vibration, they're not going to kill you. They'll come and lick you. You can walk. I've done it. You can walk right into deer that are feeding. Usually they would run. If you're in that vibration, you just walk right into. You can pet deers that are wild, that are feeding. Birds will come to you, just land on you, and everything else, because they feel that vibration. And they feel good. It isn't something specific to a single person. It's a human potential. And anyone can do this, anybody at all. And do it. You'll see. Especially when after you've got that vibration. It isn't just that one connection between mother and daddy. It's that one connection when you're centered in your heart. That's when you can do this. So, we're going to haven't done it yet. Okay, well that was important. They don't think they can do it. Okay, we're going to keep going without images. Let's just move. Let's just do this first meditation. Yeah. Now, I'm going to walk us all the way through it. And then when you get into this tiny space of your heart, let's tell you a couple things. That tiny space of your heart is identical to the tiny space in the heart of any other living being in existence. It's the same one. And so you can actually, someone like your mother and father, if they've died, or someone in your family, you, with intention, just ask them to be there. Poof, there they are. Physical. You can actually touch them. You can talk to them. What you're talking is real time. They can present information to you. I've had people try to check it out to see if it's real. It's okay to do that. And ask for information that only they knew, combinations to things that they couldn't get into or stuff like that. And they go back and be able to do it because it's real. It's not just a dream you're having there. This is a real connection. And you're connected to all life everywhere in every level of existence at that moment. And Great Spirit and you are one at that moment. You are Great Spirit when you're in that one place. You have no ego. You are one with all life. And all things are possible from there. There is nothing that is not possible from there. And so it's important that you remember this and become this. It is nothing that is new to you. When you actually feel all this, you'll remember, oh yeah, I've been here before. This is nothing new. And then when you come back, I'm not going to have you move back to your brain again. I'll stay there as long as you can. Usually what happens, it sort of goes click back after a while, especially when a telephone rings or something like that, or somebody turns on a television. You're right back in your head again. It takes a while to learn to stay in your heart all the time. And that's what we're going to ask you to do, is learn how to do that. What happens is eventually you're going to have an orgasm, a heart orgasm, that you've never known was possible. It's another channel. You have a sexual orgasm channel. You have another channel where the same energy comes up, and it's a Kundalini experience. And you have another channel, a third one. There's two more that are for the future. We can't access those now, but there's a third one that's now available to us. And it's an orgasm that takes place with your heart, that takes the energy field of the heart and moves it over and aligns it with your Mer-Ka-Ba field. At which point, and that's about a 20-minute long orgasm. You think you're dying. You can't believe it. You just can't believe this is still going on. And it's the most powerful. It's like 1,000 times stronger than a normal sexual orgasm. And I mean, it's just off the scale of anything that we normally know. But you are permanently locked into your heart at that point. The heart and the brain are now one. They are integrated and they are linked. And from then on in, human potential is extremely different in its possibilities of what's possible and not possible. You'll find that there's more to this that we haven't got into it yet, but along with the third eye being opened up properly and connected to the heart, it's crazy. I mean, telepathy becomes so easy. It's just, you don't even need cell phones anymore. None of the Kogis or the Awakas, they don't use it. We were up there one time and I was with a 120-year-old man, and he was walking faster than I could run, going at 12,000 to 13,500 feet. And one of the guys used a cell phone. That was a Spanish from Colombia. And he starts laughing, and he picks up a rock, and he goes, I got a cell phone. and they taught me how to do this telepathy, which was just, wow, it's really good. And then they stand around, they can talk from anywhere to anywhere. It doesn't make any difference what the location or where they are on the earth. They can communicate with anyone. Full images, not just sound. It's just, and they can take it so much that instead of just like something in front of you, it wraps around you and becomes a reality. If they wanted to be in this room, they can be here. They can be here where invisibly, or they can be here where you can see them. And so their telepathy is pretty advanced. It's pretty good. All possibilities are possible. Oh yeah, I used to call them in. She asked me if can I call them in. Yes. They stopped doing it for a while because the rebels in Colombia were starting to kill them for the first time. So when they killed the first one, especially there's a tribe within a tribe, just like the heart, and that small tribe is called the Mamos. And the Mamos, to them, are hundreds of millions of years old. And they're in physical human bodies now, but they've been in all kinds of other bodies before. They're a direct extension of Mother Earth. And to them, they're like God. And to the outer tribe. And one of the rebels killed one of them with a machine gun. And it was just like a shockwave going through their tribe. They couldn't believe it. And then they just started coming in and killing lots of people. I mean, they killed hundreds of people. And during that time, they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't come into my. They told me that we have to focus on what's happening to us. We can't do this. Now they're back again, and I could call them in, but I'm not going to. Now that doesn't mean they're not going to come in here. They're their own spirit. They can do whatever they want, and I've given them permission to do whatever they want. So they may do that. I don't know, but that's not my intention right now. I need to do a quick time check so I can see where we're at. Can somebody just tell me what time it is? 11:10? Okay. That's
Can we have all cell phones turned off, please?
Yeah, please. We're going to do a meditation, so if all cell phones can be, just shut it down. You can turn it back on afterwards. Okay. Can we? What's with the air conditioning? Oh, it's cold. You want to turn it down? This is a tricky thing, because if you turn it down too far, it'll suddenly get really hot, because these are 100-degree ice cubes in here. Okay. And that's why I always wear warmer shirts in hotels, because I found they're all cold. Unless they're in South America, then they're hot. Then you come in with no shirts. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is do this meditation and get in and feel the heart. This is the ancient way. This is where it starts. If you can do this, the rest is easy. Everything else is simple. It's not hard at all. Coming the other way, it's very difficult. It's very complex. Just so you know, once you do this, the complexity of the Mer-Ka-Ba, the human light body that extends around the body, I believe, from what they're telling me, you will not have to do that. It will happen automatically. You will not have to go through that. It will happen. It will form around you, and you can still use it just as if you had taken the time to go through all the breath and learning how to do it. But it will function, it will come about the moment that the brain connection takes place, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. So, you guys ready? Okay, we're going to go into darkness. This is another little detail. The eyes, the brain, sees through all light that comes in through the eyes passes through the pineal chakra, and from there it goes to every cell of the body. Science has now proven, by the way, that everything you're looking at, so is every cell in your body. It actually sees what you see. The light from your eyes goes to every single cell of your body. That's an interesting concept. What was I going to say about the pineal? Oh, yeah. Okay, darkness and light. The eyes see with light. You close your eyes, you can't see it. You have to have light going into your eyes to see. The heart is the exact opposite. It's female. It not only doesn't need light, it doesn't want it. It wants to be totally black, no photons, not even on your skin. So the researchers have found this out before when they're trying to shut down the pineal gland. They could shut up, put a blindfold on, duct tape their eyes closed, everything else like that. But it won't completely do it until they get in a completely, absolutely dark room. So they've made special rooms for this kind of research. So you get in there, you can't even see your hand like this. And we won't be able to do that. And it would be ideal if we did, but I'll turn off everything we can, including this. But when you do this, if you go home to do this, try to get into the darkest place possible. And also a blindfold really does help, especially one that really seals out the light. Okay, that's it. We're ready to go. So just get comfortable. Maybe drink a little water because we're going to be in there. I'm only going to leave you in this meditation for about 10 minutes. And normally, as soon as you get back home, I would go back into this maybe later tonight or something and try to stay for about 45 minutes or so, because so you can get reinforced what just happened. I have Zafu. You know what? I'm going to be just like you guys. Sit down. Here we are. Okay. If we can turn off every conceivable light possible. Does that thing have to be on? Is that a... Okay. Good, yeah. Ah. Okay. You can't turn off the red lights because, over there, no, I couldn't have a microphone otherwise, and we can't turn off the fire escape lights. I'm going to talk you all the way through it, and then when we get done, I'm going to leave you there for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to pull you back. Okay. Now get comfortable. You got to cough or move around, do it now. Yeah. There you go. I know. You've been waiting for 5 minutes to do that, I know. Just play like it's your bedroom. Just get comfortable. Don't forget about everything else. It's not important. Just get comfortable so you can breathe. Now, begin to breathe rhythmically, very gently, same length of time in as out. And begin to relax. For those of you who know the Mer-Ka-Ba, just feel the prana flow from above and below meeting in your heart. And just feel that one sensation. Now, wherever you are centered, if it's external to your body or anywhere else, unless, of course, you're already linked into your heart and you already know what I'm talking about, then you don't have to do this, of course. But everyone else, wherever you are, feel yourself move into your head, into your brain, and about approximately the center. And just feel everything slow down. And remember to breathe consciously. Meaning put your attention on your breath. Now your inner vision. Imagine a place in nature that you have been to before, you know, and you love this place. If you can't think of somewhere, then just imagine somewhere. It could be in the mountains, in the desert, or an ocean, it doesn't matter. You make this image more detailed. See the clouds in the sky. And some mountains, perhaps even snow on the mountaintops. And the trees. It's a desert, you can see the sand or the desert plants. And the ocean, you see the ocean. If you're on the ocean, smell the ocean air, the salt air. Or dry, it's in the desert, or moist in the mountains. Get into these sensations. And begin to feel like a little child. Feel the love you feel for Mother Earth and for the nature itself. Now bring her from this spot on Mother Earth's body, begin to feel her. The being that gave you life here. She loves you completely. She has always loved you. There has never, ever been a time when she has not loved you. And so feel that love in your heart, in your body for your mother, your Divine Mother. It's pure. She asks nothing from you. When this love feels strong, when you can feel it, you can truly feel the love you have for her. And with your intention, send that love down to the very center of the earth, to her heart, with the intention that she can feel your love. She knows you love her. And you wait until you feel her love come up from underneath the earth and come into your body. For some, this happens very quickly, almost instantly. For others, it takes about a minute. It isn't that Mother Earth is feeling others better, it's just some are more receptive. Okay, you feel this love coming into you, and it moves through your body, through your mental body, through your emotional body, through your human light body. Feel it all through you. And don't stop loving her, and don't stop feeling this love from her. Keep that connection. Feel it. And now, without stopping that in any way, turn your attention to a night sky. You might even kind of look up and see. When you look up and you see this beautiful, beautiful night sky, you see the moon, the sun is on the other side of you or somewhere. You can see the stars and the planets, and this amazing sense of depth. You can see the Milky Way, and all those millions and millions of stars. And again, begin to let your heart open for all life everywhere, for Great Spirit, for all that has been given to you in so many ways. You feel this love. And you feel strong. You feel it. And with your intention, send it either to the sun, the central sun, to the grids, or just straight up into the heavens, but only with the intention that your Divine Father feels your love. And like your mother, you wait until you feel it come from above into your body. And when you feel it come in, you feel that incredible male love from the universe. Let it move throughout your body, your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, and your light body. And now you're feeling, put your attention now to both your mother and your father. And kind of put your mother on the left side and your father on the right side. And feel both of them loving you at once. This beautifully balanced energy between Mani and Brahma. And now, with your attention, feel the love that flows between your mother and your father. That their love has always been pure and strong. Now feel what's happening in your body, this strength, this vibration that begins to develop within the core of your being. It's a very, very specific frequency. It's really what is called waveform. It's more complex than it meets the eye, but it's a very ancient vibration. Now, don't stop this. Let it just keep running through the whole meditation. Feel this connection at all times with your mother and your father. Now bring your attention to the center of your head, where there is a chakra that is connected to the pineal gland. In the very center. And now, with your intention, again, everything is intention. Let go of your pain. Let it go. You can do it. Just let go and feel yourself and see yourself and sense yourself moving down to your throat chakra. When you get there, stop for a moment. And stop in your throat chakra. And if you look around you and sense around you, it's really different than being inside of a skull. It's open. It's a different sensation. Okay, most of us are there now. Okay, now you have to let go of that. With your attention, let go of it. And see and sense and feel yourself moving down inside your chest. And moving down, and then turning a little bit and keep over until you can see or sense or feel your heart in front of you. Some people don't see. Females sense more than they see, and males see more than they sense. Use whatever you have. So you see or sense or feel the heart directly in front of you. Go right up to it. So that you just know it's right there, right in front of you. And feel now, we're going to use the Gnostic method. And so I'm going to have you turn with your heart on the right side, and we're going to move very slowly to the back of your heart, behind your heart. So you're going toward the back of your body. And just keep moving. Keep the heart, the feeling of it, the sensing of it right there. And keep moving till you get all the way around to the back, and then move back just a little bit behind it until you can see or sense the back of the heart. So you're facing in the same way you do when you're looking out of your body. And now look or sense or feel the heart in front of you. Like I said, there's a little crevice there. It's a little fold. And approximately in the middle, you see a little rotating field. Once you get in, you can see the rotation. For some people it rotates left, for some people it rotates right. But it doesn't matter right now. Just see that little spot. Some people see it as a light spot, some people see it as a dark spot. But you can intuit exactly where it is now. Now begin to move your spirit, moving closer and closer and closer to that. And just keep going all the way up to it, until you feel it take you in, and you begin to move down this tube. You can see yourself and feel yourself moving down this tube. And it might sway from side to side or move. It's not a straight tube usually, it's more very organic. And it keeps moving and moving. And about now, somewhere, you're gonna feel yourself stop. And when you do, everything stops. Everything is still. And at this moment, you're there. You're in the outer part of the sacred place of the heart. Remember now at this point, before you ever begin, ask for there to be light. Once you've asked for it, leave it up to Great Spirit as how it appears. Next thing, feel or sense or hear the vibration of Om that moves through your heart. Spend a little time getting used to that feeling that it does within you. It's very, I don't know this for sure, it is either exactly the same as the vibration from connecting to your mommy and your daddy, or it's like an overtone or something of it. I'm not sure if they're the same, they're very close. When you feel this vibration, you start to hear the vibration, or even sense the vibration. And it feels right. For just a little bit, begin to duplicate that sound with your voice. It doesn't have to be loud. It's only for you. It's not for everyone else. This vibration move through your whole body, your mental body, your emotional body, your mind body, just like you did with your love. Remember this vibration. Feel it. Bring it into your body, feeling. Now we're going to move one more time. You can move any way your spirit wants to move. I don't care. It could be around in a spiral, it could be a straight line, it could be anything. But your intention is, and you must state this intention within yourself, that your movement will take you to the tiny place of the heart and then stop. So feel yourself begin to move now. If you're still in darkness, move to the darkness. If you can see, it's more interesting. Let yourself move. And just keep moving, whatever that means, however long it takes. It might be real quick, it might be long. But keep moving until you feel yourself stop. And I've found that sometimes it moves you directly into the tiny space, and sometimes it moves you so that you are exactly in front of the opening to go into. If you feel you are in the opening, now move inside. If you're already inside, you're there. The place is usually very small. This is the most sacred place in existence. It is where all the stars in the heavens and all the universes that exist. This is where they came into existence. This is where they were created in this place. I'm going to leave you here for a few minutes. Continue to feel the vibration. If you're in the light now, you can see where you are. And whatever your heart asks you to do at this point, you can do without any fear at all. I'll be back in a little bit. Feel the love of your mother and your father, divine mother, divine father. Feel that vibration. Feel the vibration of the heart in this space. And remember it, and keep it there. Keep your spirit there as long as you can. And then slowly just come back and wake up. Keep your spirit in your heart as long as you can. So slowly come back at your own rate. And someone will turn on a very low light somewhere. Could one of the staff turn the light on, please? The staff is gone. Now you know why the heart likes darkness. Okay. This is okay for a little bit. You can see me okay? Oh, okay. I can't see anything. Can I see by a raise of hands how well, if I can see? Yeah, okay. Like, see by a raise of hands how many people feel like they were able to do this? Oh, okay. Okay, okay. But I think there was probably more that could not. Many could not, or don't feel like they could. Oh. Oh, that's pretty good. I mean, not good. Okay, that was actually more than I thought. All right, well, you're welcome. Now we're going to extend this. That's where we start from now on, is that place. Everything originates from there. It is the beginning of ascension from how we see it. If you can begin to live there, if you don't do anything else and never know about all this other stuff, what we're going to talk about, you'll find your way, because it's all there. All the memory is there. Everything is in there. So you could just return there and ask how to do this, and a wall will appear, and there will be exactly how to do it. Or an image will appear in the middle of nowhere. I mean, something you can learn from just this. This is all that is truly necessary, is this. But life has learned how to reconnect back to this other part, our brain. And so, and that is done, since there's a lot of people here that were not at the talk this year, I have to kind of reiterate some things. That is done by the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. This is the instrument that links back to the brain. And I described how when you were being born yesterday, in conception, you move through all these different levels, and at one level you become just a heart and nothing else. You don't have any brain or any arms, legs, or anything. And then your body comes out of that, and the first thing that comes out is the tip of the tongue. And it's how you can intuitively see if there is a connection. But medically, they know there is a connection, because there is a sac that contains the heart that comes up and ends in the tongue. And so that is why that part of your body is used. And then on the roof of the mouth, there is a connection directly to the phallus glands. And so at this point, we're going to learn where that place is. And because that is one of the things that takes 20 or years more. I was fortunate in the sense that the angel would come in and say, okay, you have to learn how to do this. I tried for 3 years. Nada. I could not figure it out. And then I met Dr. James Hart, who is one of the primary researchers in the world on brain research, and he invited me to come into their institute and to be wired up with all these electrodes all over my head. And they get this big trunk of things, and they plug it into a wall. And then on the other side of the wall is $1.5 million with computers and a whole bunch of technicians. On the other side, they're measuring everything, all the stuff that's coming out of your brain. And then that's projected into the room, into a tiny computer, that so you can see. And 2 sound instruments. They can't use light, because light triggers the pineal. So they use sound, and they use very specific sounds. And I could hear when I was getting into alpha. I know it's 350 times a second you're getting direct feedback. They're not telling you what to do with that. They're not using entrainment, which is what most people do, where they're saying, okay, you're in theta or alpha, and this is what you are, and this is what you're going to feel. They don't do any of that. They say that you're on your own. Now you can tell when your brain is doing it or not. And so I have this instrument there, 3 days, learning going through their process. And at one point I got frustrated with it because I understood how it worked. And I said, okay. And I got in the thing, and I popped out my Mer-Ka-Ba field, put out the beams of light, and I talk about this whole thing, got considered heart, hung up on there. And the moment I did that, well, first I started moving around. The alpha was just sort of normal. And then my tongue crossed a certain spot, and like that. Like, whoa, what was that? And I got in there, I got in this one spot, and it's like made the alpha just go super high. And I just kept it there for like 2 hours. And when I opened the door, or when they opened the door, the whole team was sitting there going, what did you do? So I told myself, I said, well, I put out this, I did this, I put the things out, I did this whole thing like that, I put the tongue on there. He goes, where is it? It makes me put a glove on, putting a hand in his mouth and show him the places. And then they all wire themselves up, went in there, because they wanted to see if they could do that, because it's very unusual for anybody to really jump that high so quickly. And they couldn't do a thing. And then I realized, well, it only works when you're in your heart. And these are scientists. It was solidly up here in their brain. It doesn't work. So that's when he realized, then he wanted to know more about how to do this in the heart and everything. And anyway, it led into a very interesting relationship with him. If anybody wants to go there, I could set it up, because he's always interested in anyone who's doing this right now. But it's expensive. If you've got lots and lots and lots of money, it's worth it. It's up in Canada. We've got one in Germany, and I think we're setting one up in Russia right now. But it's $15,000 for 7 days. But in 7 days, it would cost him over $8,000 something just to do it, because of all the money, technicians, and everyone has to go through it. But in 7 days, you could learn more about meditation than it would normally take a very long time to do. You just know exactly what it is. Well, I'm going to try to describe it precisely where this place is. And since I don't have any images or anything, we're going to have to just keep going with our imagination. First of all, there's 2 different areas of the roof of your mouth. One is called the hard palate, and one is called the soft palate. If you put your tongue up in the roof of the mouth, you'll feel it's like a drum stretched tight. It's very smooth, tightly stretched skin. That's the hard palate. Now, if you run your tongue back like you're going to go down your throat as far as you can, and some people can't do this because their tongues are too short, but it's like 1 out of 200 or something. But you bring your tongue back, and you feel this soft kind of bumpy skin. You feel that? That's the soft palate. The place is not on the soft palate. Okay? It's on the hard palate. It's also centered exactly in the center of your mouth. It's not off of either side. So you go right down the center of the roof of your mouth and just start bringing your tongue back to the roof of your mouth until you feel the soft palate. Then just go back a tiny little bit, about a 1/16 of an inch, onto the hard palate, and that's the beginning of this very important place. Now, some people, and it's a space, it's a place, it's a bump. The bump doesn't exist in your mouth at the moment. Right now it will. It is, it's about a little less than a ½ an inch long for most people. Just a little bit shorter, and the whole bump, and the bump is actually shaped like a vesica Pisces. And if you know, but you might not be able to catch that at first. And so that is the area. As soon as you go on the soft palate, you've gone too far. You go back, and right in there, that's it. And it takes a few minutes. It takes about 4 or 5 or 10 minutes of massaging it. Now, like I said yesterday, this is a sexual thing between the heart and the brain. And it literally is a sexual thing. And the heart begins to stimulate the sexual energy of the brain. A lot of people get incredibly turned on doing this. And it's okay. It's just part of it. It's a side effect. At least it's not one of the pharmaceutical side effects. You could die from this. You just might get excited, but it's okay. And so you just start massaging that area, and when the brain, what happens is the brain starts firing alpha, and it fires it in all four, very high in all 4 quadrants. That happens when the bump usually starts swelling up by that time, 5, 10, 15 minutes or more, and maybe more. And you can help it along. So you know, don't make this sound, but you know when you go like that? Well, when you put your tongue up on top of there and you start to pull down to make that sound, you pull it away really fast. Don't make the sound, just pull down. Just kind of suck it down so that it pulls it down, and then put your tongue up there again. And you now, after you do that once, you might find there's a little bump there that wasn't there a moment ago. And as you start massaging that little bump, it's going to swell up. It literally is a clitoris on the roof of your mouth. And you start massaging it. If the alpha is firing, the moment you take your tongue off of it, the energy shuts down, exactly like in sex. It does exactly the same thing. It needs the stimulation. It must have the stimulation, or it doesn't work. And so the entire time you're doing this, that is required. Now, also, there's people in this room that don't have a bump; they have a hole. And what it is the 2 halves of the brain form together there, and sometimes at that very place they leave an opening. And so if you have a little hole, you know exactly where it is. And all you do is massage around the rim of it and in there. And that is the place that will begin to fire alpha. What is alpha? In a word, it is joy. It's what makes you happy and feel good. And babies are filled with alpha. Teenagers are pretty filled with alpha. We get into our 20s, the alpha starts going down. The 30s lower. Every time you're my age, there's no alpha. Usually, it's kind of gone. And if you keep going with someone my age, it usually goes from alpha quickly into theta and then into delta. And it just keeps dropping. But so So we just massage that area. And another little detail that this may help certain researchers in this, which is amazing. Very often when someone starts to do this, in my case, I fired heavily in this quadrant, and the left right quadrant, but the left rear quadrant was very low. And they don't really know how to do that. It just takes a lot of time to build that one up. And I discovered exactly that the little bump is divided into 4 regions, which is a mirror image of the brain. And so if you're trying to get this quadrant raised, then you go to this part of the bump and massage only that, and that can make this one go way up, higher than any of the other ones. That was another thing I didn't know even existed. And that was how I got myself in the perfect balance, was because I could see on the screen which the quadrant was, and then I just emphasized that one and brought them all back into balance. You don't have that. You don't have that neurofeedback, so you don't know. But according to all the researchers in the world, there is no neurofeedback on when you're firing alpha or not. I have clearly demonstrated that's not true, and the teachers that I've had, the Hindu teachers specifically, have told me that's not true, and that's what I'm going to talk about in just a moment. You do have neurofeedback. You will know when you're doing it and when you're not doing it. The researchers didn't know about this little detail. And so all you do is you get into your heart space, put your tongue up there, and you just start massaging that area while you're doing your meditation. Go on. I had to go I would do it for 2 and 3 hours a day when we were doing this. First time I did it, I went away, my tongue was I couldn't even lift it. My muscles were just gone. I've heard for a good tongue. But it gets stronger after a while. In fact, in Kriya Yoga, they ask you, at least some of the self-realization people do, they ask you to do this continuously and never stop. Never get out of it at all. And that is an ideal situation if you understand what's happening in all of this. But the longer you do it, the better. Put it that way. And so this is the primary key. Is to just keep that going. And what will happen is this: is that when you do have this firing properly, it might not happen right away. It might not happen in 30 minutes. It might not happen in 2 hours. It may happen 5 days later. But at some point, this green light will appear inside of your inner vision when you close it. It'll happen instantaneously, and it'll fill the whole field of vision as this green light. It's not normal. You'll know that it's not normal. And the green light usually is green, but it could be green yellow or green blue. And like I said yesterday, I found by speaking with the people that I'm teaching on this and what they're seeing, that quite a few people, it's more toward the green-blue on there. The older Hindu teachers tell me it's usually toward the green-yellow. Maybe that's something, maybe we're different now or something, I don't know. But the color, don't worry about it. Whatever it is, that's fine. It's perfect, it doesn't matter. But it'll always have a green tinge to it. And that light will appear. Now I'm going to switch from that. And I'm going to start talking about the internal part of the brain, which we talked about yesterday, but I'm going to slow down and make it more clear to you. Don't worry about the thalamus. That is connected to what you're doing with this, and that's firing the alpha. But right where the thalamus is, kind of in between it, is where what is called the pineal gland. The pineal gland, like I said yesterday, we've got new people here. The pineal gland has scientifically been determined that it is an eye. It is the third eye that the ancients have talked about. And it literally is an eye. We haven't used it for a long time, so it's kind of intricately down to much smaller. What they tell me is it should be exactly the same size as these eyes considered in that place. It should be round, but it's shriveled up more like a raisin. I believe if you start using this, it's going to come back again. It's hollow. It has color receptors inside of it, and it has a lens on the top of it that faces up this way. It's looking in that direction. Where these two eyes are looking out, the lens is facing out this direction. And the object here is to open up this eye so that we can see with it. It's opening of the third eye. This is crucial for what we're about to do. If your third eye is not open, it's going to be a much more difficult journey in what this is, because you won't be able to see. Where we're going into in the fourth dimension, these eyes don't work. This one does. And but you'll do it. Anybody can do this. It's just a matter of focusing and taking the time to go through this. Okay, the pineal gland. Pineal gland is facing up and looking out. And what is said in all the ancient writings and in this is that it has to turn and look this way. So right now, if I'm looking at this hand over here, my eyes are facing forward. I turned my eyes this way. How did I do that? I did it with intention. In fact, I moved my arm up with intention. Everything's intention. Everything in the psychic world, without exception, is intention. All things are intention. And so I've got my arm over here. I've turned my eyes over there. Now I can see my hand really well, even though I'm looking forward. That's what we want to do on an analogy. We want the eye to go from here and to look out here. And you do that with intention. With your intention, you just have it turn, and it does. And it begins to look this way. Where is it looking out of? Again, I've got to repeat all this stuff again. The body, there are body measurements everywhere. The distance across the eyes, the distance across the palm, the distance from the tip of the nose to the chin. These are 7.23 centimeters on an average, and that is the distance between the chakras. And so your measuring stick, which is different in each person, though that's an average of 7.23. If you take the tip of your nose and the tip of your chin, that's your measuring stick, the center of each one of these two things. So you don't move this. Put it like that. Don't move it. And then take the thumb, put it on the nose, and rock it over until it hits your the brow, I guess you call this, the brow. And that is exactly, or very, 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 very close to where the third eye exits its vision. It's where it can see through. This is high. You'll even see Hindus with a red dot way down here. There's nothing there. They obviously don't know. It's up here, and that is where you see from. And so what my teachers tell me is that when you do this, at this stage, you must slightly cross your eyes and look up. I don't mean really cross your eyes and really look up. That's not necessary. This is a gentle thing. What you're doing is you're looking at this point. So if you do this, you come up here. Now look at that place. Look at it from your two eyes. Now you cross your eyes exactly right. And you're in precisely the right place of looking up and crossing your eyes. Because if you do this whole thing and you just close your eyes and you do everything that we're going to tell you to do, but you don't exit the vision from here, nothing happens. And so you just wasted your time. So you have to get it so that you see from here. Generally, when you close your eyes, you keep looking out through here. You got to stop that. Stop looking through that place and start looking through this place up here. That's the place where the vision has to exit from. I want to stop at this point and ask if there's any questions on this, not anything else. Just this. Do we have the mics? The staff? Is there? Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this? Okay. okay. It's okay.
I've heard that after exercising with the tongue at the roof of your mouth, you can start creating a golden liquid that comes from. Have you been able to do that?
Yeah, it's again a result of the sexual energy that is going between the two, and it's like a sexual substance. Different teachers have different ideas what to do with that. Do you swallow or not? Seriously, I mean, really. And they have different ideas about it. Since you are in the sacred space of the heart, I suggest that you go in and ask exactly what you should do with it and find out from there. I don't fully understand this part of it, of exactly.
What did you do with it? What?
I just swallow it. I just let it go. But sometimes it keeps coming. I don't even know where it's coming from.
I've heard you could fast for years and years off of just that
And
substance.
just eat that? Could be. I don't know. I haven't heard that. I mean, I know you don't have to eat food. We've got over 50,000 people in the world right now that do not eat food or drink water. And scientifically, that's been documented. But, at least not all 50,000, but it has been documented. But this is a new concept or idea about that. I don't know if it's true or not. Is there anybody else that has a question?
Drunvalo? Drunvalo?
Just you decide who you want to give it to. I don't know. Yes.
Thank you. So once you're looking up in your eye, how far into the
Well, I don't know if auras all the time. I know people that don't know there's on-off switches. And so you just, every time you're talking to someone, you're sitting there seeing all their thoughts and feelings and everything else. And I just don't want to do it. And so, but I know how to turn it on if I need to, or turn it off when I need to. And I found that I can do that with every single one of my psychic abilities. I can use it when I want, or I can keep it in my pocket down here if I don't want it, and use it when I need to. That's how I deal with it. You may decide some other ideas around that, but that's how I feel. And so there are a lot of things we do, we don't need it, and then there are other things that's essential. And you'll know when it's essential and when it isn't.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to keep going now, I think. I know there's a lot more questions, but given the time thing, oh, I turned it off. It's 12 what?
1:45.
That means we're supposed to end in 5 minutes? Oh, we get, that's exactly. All right. Okay. I got one more hour? Hour and a half? No, we start at 10. So we're supposed to go to 12:30.
Till 1.
1?
12:30.
1:30? So we have 3.5 hours? They gave us more time?
All right.
Order of what? Oh my God, okay. We have to leave in 20 minutes, which means I have to start talking really fast. Okay. All right, well, the essential part, even if we stop right now, you've got most of the essential part. I'm going to now continue on with the rest of it, and you're going to have to go home and begin to practice this. The next stage is what he was talking about over here. Once you've opened up and you've rotated this light, and you're rubbing on here, you wait for this green light to appear. You can't proceed without the green light, because it means that you're not firing a high enough level of alpha, and it's not going to work. You're wasting your time. You've got to wait for that to happen. I don't care if it takes you 6 months. You've got to wait till you see the green light. Or start doing something to figure out how to make more alpha, which is usually get happier. Eat happy food. Do something that makes you feel better. And you get lighter, so you feel light. This is what Prashad was trying to get us all to do, is to lighten up. And there's a good reason, because when you lighten up, the alpha increases, and you're able to do what is necessary to do at a better level. The more angry you are, the more upset you are with life, this is going to be really hard. You've got to let it all go. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to hold on to that pain? No. Somehow, go to the woods, let Mother Earth take it. Get rid of it. You've got to let go of it somehow. So the next thing you do is your eye is looking at this spot. Your eyes are crossed up and you see the green light. Then, even though you're in your heart space this whole time, you have to see from that eye and look at right near the front here, which is the pituitary chakra. The gland is over here a little ways. It doesn't matter where the gland is. The chakra is directly in line here. And so from pineal chakra to pituitary chakra, you look at it. That's all you do. And you wait. If there's something you can do to speed this up, I don't know what it is right now. But you just wait. You see the green light, the alpha's going, the tongue is moving, and you just wait. And when this thing happens, and the light will turn into a geometrical form, and for most people it'll turn into a spiral, and it goes, and it'll link to the pineal pituitary chakra, and you feel it. For me, it's a sensation, and it's also a visual amazement. It's just like, wow. You just don't see things like that normally. You don't see, the light just congeals into a line that goes down until it locks with it. Sometimes it turns into a circle, and then another circle forms inside of it, a little bit farther away, and a smaller, and a little bit goes down to it. Sometimes it turns into a square, and you see squares within squares it goes down to it, which sometimes have very complex patterns inside of it. And sometimes people see a little tube that goes between one and the other, and they link. But how it happens when this occurs, I don't think it makes any difference what the visual psychic phenomena is. The result is always the same. Those two glands, those two chakras get locked together, and you're almost there. There is another chakra with another gland, which I refuse right now to get the name of it because people keep changing things, and I'm going to hold on to that particular piece of information for the time being. But taking the same thing, and you go up to this place, now turn it from that place and go forward at 90 degrees, and you have another chakra out here in space in front of you. You also have one behind you. You've got 5 in a row there. One out in back, one in front, 3 inside your head. And just one out here with just your intention, and this is easy. It always happens instantaneously. With your intention, you let the sight move through the pituitary chakra to this one out here in front, and it'll lock. It happens. It's simple. Once you get to the part of the spiral locking in, the next step, it's easy. Nothing to it. It locks. When it does, a sphere appears around your head. It's about that far. Your 13th chakra is above your head, right 1 hand length above your head, and take a perfect sphere from there, and it encloses your brain, and that is I don't know what the name of that is, but scientifically they can photograph it. And Dr. Hart has, when people are in this state, they can see it. Your head glows. The inside of the sphere turns into a halo, and it actually glows, and you can see it, and you can scientifically photograph it and everything else like that. He's got lots of people that have done this. At that moment, your third eye is open. And there's another thing about the beings, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then I think we'll have most of the information. There's 2 ways that you can see through your third eye. One is with the brain. That's what almost everybody does. And that is called psychic abilities. The Hindus call it the siddhas, where you can basically do anything. on a level that, like I said before, and I'll say it again, if you do anything from that level, you're going to be sorry. The more you get involved in this, the more sorry you're going to be, because as you create through that level, or even sense through that level, it has an equal and opposite polarity, because the brain is a polarized object of male and female, and whatever you link into and sense and create from there, you're going to have something coming from back there that you can't see that you're not going to want. You're going to wish you did not have. It would not happen, but it always will. And the timing it could be a year later, but it'll happen. And so I really recommend that you do not use that, because the ego still is intact, and it's not the way to use the brain. You can do amazing things and still have a huge ego, and that's that is dangerous. That's why the Hindus are so careful, because if your ego says, "Wow, look what I can do," and starts getting into it and starts demonstrating things to just show off or make money or whatever it is, you just spiritually died temporarily. You'll get it back later, but for a while, you can't function anymore. You're just out there showing off, and you couldn't get through that valley to the other side. The way to do it is just don't even go there. Don't even bother. Just stay out of that place, and go and stay in your heart, and learn with your intention to, once the third eye is open, to come back from the heart and look out through there, what is called in the ancient journals the single eye of the heart. In Sufism, you'll see the heart with a single eye on it and with wings. You've probably seen that symbol. It's referring to that particular level of consciousness. And at that point, you can do anything you want, and you'll do no harm in the world, because the heart's not polarized. It's unified. It is a unity consciousness, and it has an incredible wisdom as to how to use this without harming anything. You don't have to have any fears. For whatever you ask for, it will give it to you, but it will give it to you in a very, very good way. They said we could have another hour. So, let's slow down a little bit. Okay, that's good, because okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of people. How about it? In this case, like a 3 or 4 minute bathroom break.
Thank you.
Okay, run and do that. Come back, but you got to come back fast.
What about Andrew Harvey? A little later on.
Through the same channels there, you see through a single eye, and it will allow you to see in a way you've never seen before. You can actually duct tape your eyes closed and put a mask on, and you will be able to see the room or wherever you are around you just as well as you do with these eyes, only you will see all the energy fields and all that, and you'll see not the surface of things, but you'll see the world as energy. And that is an extraordinary step forward in human consciousness, because it'll allow you to see other worlds that you normally can't see. It allows you to connect with all the ETs and the ITs and a lot of other energy. They're waiting for us to be able to do this. If you want to see ETs and UFOs and everything, you do that. Oh wow, man, they're going to be all over you. And this is what they're hoping for. And so but it has other things. It's much more. I'm just learning about this, because this is not written about anywhere that I know of. And it wasn't for my inner guidance, I would have never found this. So just remember what I just said, and let's try it. Now I've got to get back to something that's more complex, because I want to make sure you get this. And I can't put the image up here. And so it's really kind of too bad, because one image would save me 20, 30 minutes of time. but I'm just going to have to describe it. And I started to talk about it yesterday, but I need to go into it more. The pineal has actually 10 openings that exit from the skull, but only 8 of them are used for someone who is ascending. If someone is descending, when you see an ET and they're coming down from a higher level of consciousness, you will see a slightly different arrangement of these beings, but you'll always see the beings if you can see, and because they couldn't be here without them. And that's true with all of them. They always will have these. And it's true of any very high being. He will always have these beams coming out because it means that their third eye and the beams are open. You can't open your third eye unless there's one more step is done, and that should be done prior to doing all of these things, really. It's the best way is just get it over with in the first place. And that is that there's these beings. Now, I'm going to describe them first, and then how they connect in. There's a breathing tube, if you're aware of this, the Mer-Ka-Ba, that comes in through the top of your head and through the middle of your body, going down between your legs, and about one hand length above your head and one hand length below your feet. That breathing tube is exactly, if you take your middle finger and your thumb and put them together, that's how big your breathing tube is. If it had just a little bit of pressure around it, that would give you the size of your breathing tube. The beams that come out of your head are exactly the same size. They're precisely the same. 2 of those beams are in the breathing tube. The one that's coming from here and the one that goes down your throat. Those 2 are actually the same size and inside of the breathing tube. The rest of them are not. You have 4 sets. One directly above your head, one going down below. That's one set. One is going to be positive, one is going to become negative. Male to female on them. Then you have another set that exits at this place, only it comes up at a 45-degree angle and goes out through this little soft spot in the back of your head, and it goes down at an angle like that. So one of them facing down, one facing up. I call it the unicorn ones because it looks like a unicorn coming out of the top. And then, so you have one out of the top, you have one in the uniform, and then one coming out directly out of this spot, comes right out of there. No, maybe I did that wrong. Let me think about that. I did that wrong, sorry. This opening here comes straight out. Then if you do it again, the 45 comes out here. If you do it again, you'll end up at your crown chakra. You'll find out it works out perfectly by measuring this. And at least it should. And so you have one coming out this way and another one coming out directly out the back of the head, level with the head. And this one facing forward is positive. The one going to the back is negative. You have another one coming out here at the 45. It's positive. The one coming out the back is negative. You have another one come out the top. It's positive. One going in your throat is negative. Then you have one coming out the side of your head, on both sides of your head. The one on the left is positive. The one on the right is negative. And where it exits the head, a lot of people think it's the temple. It is not. It's where your ear connects to your head, pretty much. We're all slightly different. And it's just slightly above. You take this spot where the third eye is and come right around and right over this spot here. That's about where it exits your head, on both sides of your head. So you have like beams that look kind of like this microphone coming out of either side. And they look like they're cut off. They look kind of like this. They look like they've been sliced off. If you look psychically very carefully, they're curved because they fit perfectly into the sphere that goes around it, all the way around it. And those beams of light are essential for everything working. Without them, they won't work. I'm going to talk about the internal structure in just a moment. When somebody's just walking around, you pick somebody off the street, unless you just happen to pick somebody that's very highly advanced. If it's just a normal person walking down the street, these beams are not geometrical, they're not straight. They're just little fuzzy things. They're in approximately where the areas are. Each one's just, they look like fog. And they're kind of a goldish light, usually, unless the person has a really, really bad headache. And in the area where those beams are, they may turn into a reddish-brown color. But normally they're kind of a white, goldish color. And so you have to actually, there's a procedure. I was taught this by the Mayans, but I discovered that my kahuna teachers also knew this exactly. And there's a procedure on how to do this. I'm going to have to go through this procedure very quickly. You have to, okay, just so that you know, there's these fuzzy places. Now, go inside the head, and we're looking now at the pineal chakra. This has to be done with your eyes closed, and you have to use your inner vision to be able to see this. But you look in at you look to see with your intention the pineal chakra. It will usually come off as a reddish color, not always. There's always differences in people, but 90% of the time it's a reddish color. Whatever the color is, just accept it. And sometimes they also see a darker color, and you find it. Then you're going to see, coming from the beams, that the moment they enter in through the skull, they turn into a little tiny electrical energy field that runs down to the pineal. And it looks like electricity. It's wiggling around. You know those spheres where you got electricity coming out to the spheres, they're going out to the glass, and you put your finger on it. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? Yes. Yeah, probably everybody's seen those. It's very much like that. And it's coming from the pineal outward. And this electrical energy goes out to that beam to where the skull is, and then off the surface of the skull it becomes this perfect geometrical beam filled with white light. And it's rotating, this light is rotating around. And I mean, all these little details you probably don't need to know, but to connect them, and here's how you connect one beam. There's an order that people have figured out or were given a long time ago. You always begin with this 45-degree beam first, the side beams second, the third eye beam third, and the one that comes out of the top of the head, you don't have to do it. The moment you get the other three set, that one functions perfectly. Pardon? Well, I'll do it one more time. That's all I can do because we don't have time. You got to write this down. The 45 is first. The unicorn is first. You got to get that one completely established. Then you go to the side beams, second. Then you go to the third eye beam, third, and then you don't have to do the fourth one. It'll appear out of nowhere. I could explain why, but we don't have time for that. And okay. Now, I'm going to have to explain this to you very quickly. I'm going to explain how, because this is how both my kahuna teachers and the Mayans taught me, how to do it to another person. And you're going to have to translate that into how to do it to yourself. They do this when a child goes through puberty and becomes an adult. The first thing they do is they come out and they establish the beams around their head. And we can't see those beams, but they can. And like I said, if you look at a picture of Jesus, you'll see the three beams coming out of his head. That's because that's all you can see when you're looking straight at someone. You can't see all these other beams. And this one just has a glowing forehead. It looks like all you see is three beams and a sphere of light around his head. Yeah, that's there. And under the right conditions, you can actually photograph that. But and so people in the time of Jesus, they not only saw him, they saw those beams and that glowing thing. That's why they knew he wasn't just normal. he was a little unusual to them. You never saw those beams on any of the disciples anymore. Only on Jesus did you see them. And so, okay, next. when you look inside say you're connecting these two together, the first thing you do is you see, oh, I've got to establish one more thing. These electrical beams that run in there are not connected to the pineal chakra. They're moving all around. The chakra's here, and they're moving around, but they're avoiding it. They'll do all kinds of fancy things, but they won't touch the pineal chakra. And that's what you have to do, is reconnect those 8 beams together. You got to get them locked in there. And when you do, everything takes off. They've been re-established, broken down somehow. We can come up with all kinds of ideas of maybe why that's true. It doesn't matter. They aren't connected. We've got to connect them. That's all that matters. And so the first thing you do, and this is it, you've got the order, right? And the polarity, meaning these are positive in front, this is positive on this side, these are negative on this side, and negative in the back. Your hand chakra, on this one, you have a big chakra in the palms of your hand. The one in your left hand is negative, and the one in your right hand is positive, just the opposite of your brain. And that will describe, from that you can determine why I'm going to tell you to move to certain areas of the body when you do it. But I'll explain this in a moment. You have to go, first of all, when you're doing it to somebody else, you have to go around to the left side of their body. You can't do it on the right side of their body. You have to be on the left side. And so you go, here's the person sitting in front of me, and you come around to the and they're looking that way, on their left side. The reason is because your left hand is female and is a negative charge. The beam coming out this side is positive, and you want to put the negative over the positive. And the one coming out the back is negative, and you want to put the positive hand over the negative charge. And it accepts it. If you do it the other way around, it rejects it. And so you have to be on the left side. Now you're on the left side, and you're looking, and here's this 45-degree beam, except all it is a little bit of fog. And the one coming out the back is a little bit of fog. It can sound funny, but you have to take it with your intention and grab it and tell it to go into a beam. And you do that with both of them simultaneously. And what happens is they go into a beam, but they're like an inch long. This little tiny beam, about this long, and usually the one in the back is even shorter. And you go to the stronger of those two, which is usually this one in the front, and you have to talk to the body. Now this will be if you're doing it with someone else. If you're doing it on yourself, you talk to your own body. You don't have to use words. You can do it telepathically. The body hears telepathy better than words. And so it's just inside your body, you just say what I'm about to say. You're holding on. You're holding on to those two beams, and you've told it to the fog to go into a beam. Just know that the pineal chakra responds to intention more than anything in the body. And so when you tell it to do something, it will do it. And you tell them to go to beams, they do, but they're little. So the next thing you do is you go to one hand, whichever is the stronger, and you start telling it to get stronger. You tell the body, put out more energy, make the beam longer. And usually the body will go, okay, and they'll go a quarter inch bigger. And the body goes, wow, that was a lot. And you go, no, more. It goes, more? And it hasn't used this for most people for thousands of years. And so you have to keep telling it, no, more. And you keep going until the beam begins to, is approximately as long, is approximately as wide as your hand, the palm of your hand. It's not important that it's perfect. It just has to be about that wide. And then you go to the other one and you tell it to go out until it gets out approximately as wide as the hand. So now that particular set of beams is partially out and functioning, which is about as much as the body can handle at this point. And that's when you just let go of it and you put the chakra point right over the top of the head, direct contact on it, and that's when you look inside and forget about all the other beams, all the other little wiggly things in there, and you only go for the ones that are on that set. And so you'll see two wiggling around, and you'll see the little chakra inside. And then you've got to get those beams to touch and connect. They don't want to. They will resist you like crazy. They'll do everything but touch there. So with your intention, you just got to hold your intention that those two little wiggly things connect with there. And sometimes they'll connect and they freak out. They go, ah! And they'll start wiggling around. You put them in there and they'll hold for a few seconds. Ah! And they start wiggling around. I don't care how long it takes. You have to keep doing it until you can get them to stay connected to the pineal chakra. And you've got to let them stay for at least a minute. Even 2 minutes is better. Once they've stayed there and they haven't broken away for a long period of time, and you feel that they're not going to break away, you can let go of it. And then your palms are on the surface of the head. With your intention, you pull the beams out all the way. And you keep going, and they'll go, and you don't have to worry about it, they'll stop. They'll go, here's the surface of that invisible sphere we're talking about that goes around them. They'll go until they reach the surface of the sphere, and they'll stop. So your hand pulls them out. Your hand can go further, but they'll stop when they get to the edge of where the sphere is. You've now just pulled two beams out. And you've just done this first set. You've pulled them out. And now there's one last thing. With your sensitivity, you have to feel them. They are, on the very ends, they're pulsing. And the pulse, I'm almost certain, is connected to the heartbeat. I have a lot of reasons why I believe that, but I haven't done the sacred geometry, and I haven't done a lot of work to prove it conclusively, but I'm almost absolutely certain. It's tied to the heartbeat. And so, but what you're going to find almost always is that the two beams are playing ping pong with each other. One beam will go pulse, and the one on this side will go pulse, then the other one goes pulse, and this one goes pulse. They go back and forth, back and forth. That's no good. Anybody in here knows Jinshin Jitsu? You do? Anybody else? Is there anyone? Okay, well, okay. Well, you guys will know what I mean. You know how you're holding two different points on there, and they're pulsing back and forth, and with your intention, you've got to get them to pulse the same. And you hold them there until, with your intention, you feel them go into pulsing the same. And when they do, then you switch to another meridian, other points. Well, I mean, you have patterns that you're working with, but this is just, you've got to get those two things pulsing the same. And so you feel them back and forth, and with your intention, you've got to get them to pulse the same. And what happens on something this big is they'll be going pulse, 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 pulse. And then at one point they go into chaos. They go pulse, 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 and they start pulsing exactly the same. Well, as soon as they're pulsing exactly the same, according to the minds, you count 20 pulses. It's probably because of their 2013 count and all that stuff. I don't know. I go more. I go like 24. I go over to make sure. Oh, that's a cute little doggy. No. It's okay. So they're pulsing the same. As soon as you count at least 20 pulses, you can let go of it. And you now have one set of beams out, connected in the middle, pulsing the same. And then you go over to these in the back. And in order to do that, you have to go around to the back of the person, because your left hand fits perfectly over the male, and your right hand fits perfectly over the female. And you do exactly the same thing again. You see the fuzzy things, you grab a hold of them, turn them into a little beam, ask them to go out one side, then the other side a little ways, put your hands on the sides of the heads, look inside, see the two wiggly electrical units, see the pineal chakra inside of there, and get them to connect with your intention, and hold them there for long enough that they're going to stay, usually a minute or two. You can feel it when you know they're going to stay. And pull the beams out with your intention, and they'll go all the way out. feel the pulsing, get the pulsing to be the same again, count 20 pulses, now you have another set. Then you come around to this one, do the same thing, you have to come back around to the other side, to the left side of the body again. You see them, you do exactly the same thing again, and you go through that, and it's always the same thing all the way through. You do this 3 times, and your beams are out. Once they're out, they're usually not perfect, by the way. They'll sometimes kind of droop or be a little curvy up or things. And over about 2 weeks period, if you do this every single day and with your intention, you see them, you feel them all connected inside. You see them going out. If you feel them kind of weak on one side, you talk to your body and tell it to put more energy out there to get it straight. And it will. And after about 2 weeks, you should be able to have these beams functioning perfectly. That is now you are in position to be able to go into the heart, use the tip of the tongue, come up and begin to fire the alpha. And you're going to, I think you're going to find that the alpha will come easier now because these beams are out. And then again, wait for the green light. Turn the eye. You can't forget that, to turn the eye to look out this point. Cross your eyes slightly to look up at this point so that you know that that's where you're looking out of. Then look at the pituitary chakra and just watch it in front of you until the light appears and it turns into a spiral and locks. And then the final thing is step through to the other side and connect all 3 chakras in a row. Bam. Not only the whole sphere appears around there, links all those beams together, and the whole interior structure around you lights up. And your third eye is now open. Absolutely for certain. It's open. And you are on your way. But again, I really suggest you don't use your brain. Look through your heart and begin to see in this new way. From that point forth, I don't think you're going to need me or anyone else. You will connect through that to your higher levels of on other levels of consciousness, and everything should proceed very rapidly from there on in. Your life is going to change. You're going to end up seeing the whole world differently than you do now. I mean, you just can't believe it. You're going to look back in a while, look back at how you used to see what you thought the world was, and realize that you were just miles off. It wasn't even close. I mean, what's out here is, to finish all of this, this reality that is out here is a projection from within. It is projection from the tiny space of the heart that moves up through these toroidal fields that the heart math has discovered. They connect in through this 13th chakra point over here and first circle around in the beams of light into this field around here, around your head. And the projection is first there, and then it goes to another sphere, which in our traditions is called the Leonardus. It's a big sphere that goes and encloses the entire body, which is a portion of the Mer-Ka-Ba field, or the human light body. And the entire universe, this is going to sound crazy right now, but a day's going to come and you go, oh yeah, I get it. The universe doesn't exist. It isn't here. There isn't anything here. It's a projection. It's an idea that was created by a very particular person named Metatron. And we all, and you have created universes too. You have purposely come down here to this place and lost your memories. You're not going to go anywhere. You'll get them all back. And you knew that before you did this. And it's because of a universal thing that's going on right now that is huge. But the universe is actually a projection on the sphere itself. The most distant stars that appear to be 16 billion light years away or more are actually right there at your fingertips. They're just right here. And you're going to find out that what you thought was true and what you thought was real just was a pure illusion. It isn't real. At which point your body is a projection. And everything is. And this is why it's just, when I made the name of this thing, reality is consciousness. You can now begin to see what I'm talking about. It is just simply consciousness. Once you really got this and you get it, you can start by changing your life. You can change everything in your family. You can heal anything. You can change anything. You can bring, if you need health, you can get that. If you need money, you can get that. You can do anything without doing anything. I mean, it's the essence of what the Taoists were saying. It's not what you do. It's not what you do. It's being. It's a state of vibration. When you come into this pure state of vibration, then everything comes to you, whatever you need, and it's okay. There's much more beyond all of this, but that's between you and Great Spirit. It's not for me to talk about those kinds of things. I'm a technician. and just to remind you, because to me, you are me. And I am you, and we are all the same. There's really only one person in this room right now. There's not whatever there is. And I know these ideas are unusual and seem beyond logic, and I guess they are. But they're really not. If you really understand sacred geometry, you really get it, you understand how it works, and you understand what the consciousness is and how it all is, the human brain as it is can understand this. Without even going into the higher life forms or anything else like that. If we couldn't, we would be locked into this place forever, and we would be trapped. And we're not trapped, and we're going to get out of here. We needed to come here, but we're going to go. So, I don't know do I have any time left?
Yes.
How much?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Wow, okay. All right. So, what I suggest is that you make a place in your house somewhere where you meditate, and that's only for that purpose, nothing else. And you put a candle there or something that makes you feel better, and you use it only for that place, and you begin to pick a time every day. The best time is between 3 and 6 in the morning. And if you study how the pineal gland puts out melatonin, it peaks at 3 to 6 in the morning. And that's when you are wide awake and right on those particular levels. It's the ideal time to do this. If you can't do that, then do whatever you can do. But that's when it's the easiest. It goes up very fast. It goes at 3 o'clock. You got what's going on. And so, but you pick the same time, same place, same station, keep doing the same thing. If you just keep doing this every day, within a month or two, you should be able to lock all these things together. I mean, you're going to know what I'm talking about very soon. Wherever you are. Now that may not be true if that's part of jet lag, you know. I mean, if you come in, you've got to balance off to the geographical location. Geographical location is more than it seems too. Where you are standing on the earth is very important in all of this. But still, I apologize that we couldn't get the technology working, and I couldn't. It's my fault. I should have brought my computer and everything else. I just thought we could do this.
Can you put them up on your website?
What?
Can you post it to your website?
No, all of this has been kept pretty much oral from me through an oral tradition, and I've got permission now to change all of that. And I am making a DVD that will be, and teachers that will be using this DVD to teach, because some people want more teaching. They want to do it. But that DVD isn't going to be held back, because a lot of people can do this by themselves. But if you feel you need help, by July there should be over 100 people worldwide that will be able to help you, and will have all the graphics and everything else, and be able to accelerate this better for you. I don't think it's going to be a very long class. It should be able to be done in 3 days or less. And so there is one last thing. And I'm sorry this is complicated, but God did it. You know, I mean, if you look inside the body, just look at the body. Wow, we are amazingly complicated inside. You look at the muscles and the nerves and all the stuff that's going on, and holy mackerel, we are complicated. And so this is really relative to the body, not that complicated, but it is. You know, some people said, "Gee, how do you do all these things at once?" It's like patting your head, rubbing your tummy, you know, all these things. But you know, when you start doing these things, as you go through step by step, it doesn't take long where it just becomes. You don't even have to think. It's like riding a bicycle. You just get to the place where you can just do it. It's not hard. And you can get to the place where you can stay in that place all the time, day and night, no matter what's going on, no matter what you're faced with, no matter how whatever's coming at you, it just doesn't bother you. You can just stay in there and you can stay perfectly balanced. And you can respond to any set of circumstances, no matter what it is, in ways that normally you couldn't. Because you are now in a situation where you can create, you can do miracles, you can do anything that is necessary under whatever conditions you're being faced with. And this is one of the steps that you'll be needed to do as we progress in consciousness, which is going to happen very, very quickly and very fast. And this is not something that's going to be dragged. We're in it now, but we're going to come to a point where it just goes straight up. You know, in one single day, there's going to be more change taken on in consciousness than there has been in the last 6,000 years. And so we're just beginning. Yeah, well, okay, I don't have a mic, so. Well, I showed you. No, if you do it on yourself, it so happens you don't. It so happens that this arm happens to fit perfectly on the right side. Isn't that convenient? Well, yes, but this side is positive and this side is negative. So on your own hand, it happens if it's perfectly over that. Okay? And you don't have to use your hands. You can sit in there and do it all in just pure intention and meditation without moving anything. You can just sit there and do it. Once it's been established and all these things are established, it doesn't take very long, a couple of weeks, and the body gets it, the body remembers what it is, and it will hold, it will stay there, nothing will break apart. And it's very much like, it's a living field. It gets stronger and stronger and stronger every day. It's just like when you plant a little seed in the ground, and it takes a little while and it comes out. And in the beginning, it's very weak. It could be like a big redwood tree. It comes out and gets weak, but every day it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Maybe in the beginning you have to water that seed and you have to give it love and water and things. But eventually that tree gets to a point where it doesn't need you anymore. It's so strong, and it continues to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And you get until this has become second nature. And it will happen. You just have to have the patience and the time to continue doing this. If you can get into your heart, but you get lost in something like this, go into the tiny space, bring forth your higher self. Every person here has at least 2 angels that are connected to you. Maybe more, but you've got at least 2. You couldn't be in polarity without at least 2. And so bring in one of them, or maybe 2 of them, and you can ask them anything, and they can tell you anything. And they'll never mess with you, they'll never tell you a lie or deceive you, or they'll always give you the truth. It'll always be perfectly accurate 100% of the time. And you can rely on it, and it's coming from within you. And so that's where I really want you to get to, is where you can, whatever you need comes from within. And you don't have to rely on this polarized world where everybody is who you can't tell by just looking at them who they are and what their intentions really are. You know what your intentions are, and this is you, not somebody else, where all your knowledge starts coming from you at that time. That's all I want to get you to. After that, you don't need, like I said, you won't need anybody, and you'll be able to help others. Each one of you is the very, very top stone of a very large pyramid of souls and people. They're all your ancestors that have come before you, and there's millions and millions of them. not only from here, from other levels of life and other things else like that. And you, every time we have a baby, we always put our baby up and hope that we hope that our children will go beyond us. And well, when you make this, when you get it this time, when you establish this in you, you establish it through your whole pyramid of all these souls. And this is a very powerful thing. I mean, if you figure out just how many people on other levels of existence are relying on you, this is billions and billions of people that are underneath us here. And so just this one room, there's enough people here, just in this one room, to change the world. But it's happening anyway. It's happening at all kinds of levels now because the cycles are here and we're in the right time and right space. So I know you're going to do it. I cheated. I know what's going to happen in the future. Just don't worry. Don't be in fear. And I love every one of you. I really do. And thank you for everything. Thank you.